Today I will make you think about piracy, and what is personal treason. My name is Steve Smith. This is TQA Weekly, and if ever you want to, send me an email about a question, a comment, even a story, or a topic that you want to suggest, you can email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. You can go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can do 4 really neat things. You can use the contact form to email me directly. You can go to the subscribe page to find out how to subscribe to my show by all the different means. And for those who didn't already notice, if you were subscribed to the WMV or the lower res version of the MP4, they have been migrated into the high res 720p feed, which will be upgraded soon. So yeah, 2 feeds instead of 4. And of course, you can always find other places like YouTube, Vimeo, blip.tv to subscribe. And of course, you can go to the support us page where you can find other ways of supporting this show and actually comment on each of the episodes I have done in the past. So with this one, it's 233 episodes. Today's topic is going to be something to make you think about, because this is something I think about all the time. I'm one of those kids who grew up in the 80s and 90s, and the internet itself was a fad. For the most part, we went outside to play. We played sports and we did a lot of stuff. So this was basically something that was interesting, but not necessarily useful when I was younger. So you could have thought it would have disappeared. However, a bunch of things happened that made it stay. A bunch of real neat facts that makes the internet an important, integral fact of life, even a human right in some instances, because of how important it is and what it does to this world. So here's the thing. The internet allows us to do very specific things called interacting with other people. It allows us to communicate with people in a way that allows us to be more honest about what's going on around the world, allows us to see from their own point of view. It allows us to become friends with people we would never be friends with because we would have just never met them. It allows for the creation of businesses based on the internet that gives us a new form of economy. It actually creates new economies. It gives us better tools at the same time, a better access to information, better access universally to information that can both help people and save their lives, as well as actually making sure that in some cases people are actually aware that they're entitled to freedom of speech, to human rights, and all that kind of great goodness that can actually come from it, but with some real downers at the same time. So privacy is something that's an issue on the internet. Now we have this distinct ideology of shoving all privacy down into the same pool. However, the thing is we have to think about the 2 different types of violations of privacy on the internet that we have. We have the commercial violation of privacy, which is normally covered by a privacy policy. So if you didn't read that, that's, well, not their problem. So if you didn't read the privacy policy of a said website that you went on, you are responsible for that. However, that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about the specific unknown, the government and spy agencies literally getting into your business, going through everything you have ever talked about and recording everything. Well, that's personal treason, because now, because you know about it, you are censoring yourself and therefore deleting your own identity. The very act is an act of aggression against human rights. It's actually something that should not be allowed. However, because the old guard still is the old guard, they have gone through some of these crazy tactics, like Vic Tao's at one point saying that anybody siding against the online surveillance bill was siding with child pornographers is ridiculous. The fact that we hear about child pornography, terrorism, that we hear about criminals and acts of criminality as being what we're siding with when we're not willing to get rid of our privacy in the sake of security, when they have never been able to prove ever that any of this has ever stopped anything, and it has never successfully stamped out any of this kind of violation anyway. Well, that is the problem on the internet. However, many of the acts of violation against privacy, even when you're going through an airport with your laptop being scanned, have nothing to do with criminality in the sense that most people would understand it, except that we do know what it is. And it's piracy. The old walled garden effect of where specific companies have decided for you whether or not you have access to something in a culture of want, where want equates to need, and we equate need to being universally accessible, so therefore everyone should have access to it. We don't necessarily all agree that everything should be free. We do understand that great pieces of work need to be paid for and need to be substantially supplemented in order for it to continue existing, so we're not necessarily advent to the idea of paying for something. It's the fact that we can't get it that's the problem, and the old guard going through all the hurdles to make us feel bad because they don't want us to have it right now. You must wait for July 2018 for that actual specific thing, or you must live in that country there in order to have access to it. This very act creates the need for piracy, something that only exists by definition because those companies have not made the information or entertainment or materials freely available or commercially available in an easy to obtain way so that everybody can actually have access to that specific content whenever they want, wherever they live. And by allowing all this, it would actually force the infrastructure of the internet to be upgraded to a standard that would allow everybody to have high enough speeds to be able to interact with each other in a way that is socially viable, that would actually allow people to be able to communicate with people in a way that we derive as being okay. So none of that dial-up bullshit. So this is what's happening in the world. So what do you think of that? Is it okay to lose your privacy in the name of security that has never proven an ounce of truth of anything being what they claimed, other than them going after a bunch of freedom fighters that are showing you there's a problem? And do you think it's okay for the old guard to keep the contents away from you, even if you're willing to pay for it? Having access to this stuff when you're ready to pay for something is something that they should make easy, not hard. So what do you think of this? Leave it down below. Email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to tqaweekly.com and interact there. You can also find me on Twitter. That's at ZEDAXIS. And of course on my Facebook page. So that's facebook.com/ZEDAXIS. 1981. Make sure you like that, and don't forget to subscribe to this if you haven't already done so, and share it with others that might be like-minded. Have a great day.